So, when you think of an owl, you probably picture some wise, hooting character from a storybook, right? Well, the real-world owl is something else entirely. We're not just talking about a bird here. This is a perfectly evolved nocturnal hunter, an absolute master of the night, kitted out with a set of biological tools that are, frankly, nothing short of superpowers.
I mean, flying ninjas. That's pretty much the perfect way to describe them. So let's dive right in and break down exactly what makes these creatures such incredibly effective hunters.
Okay, first, let's get some quick context. You've got around 200 species of owls out there, and they are everywhere. I mean, every single continent except Antarctica. And get this, they've been around, perfecting their hunting skills for over 16 million years. Just think about that. That is a mind-boggling amount of time to master the art of the hunt.
So what exactly is in this apex predator's toolkit? Let's break down these biological superpowers that really set owls apart from, pretty much every other bird in the sky.
All right, let's start with the one you've probably heard about. Silent flight. This is the owl's most famous advantage. You know how most birds make that distinct whooshing sound when they fly? Well, an owl's feathers have these special soft kind of frayed edges that break up the air turbulence. What does that do? It lets them fly in complete and utter silence. Their prey literally never hears them coming. Okay, next up is that wild, almost supernatural head turn. An owl can whip its head around 270 degrees. So why do they do that? It's because their huge tube-shaped eyes are actually fixed in their sockets. They can't move their eyeballs around like we can. So to see anything, they have to move their entire head. And this gives them an almost 360-degree field of vision without ever having to move their body an inch. And those fixed eyes, they're incredibly powerful. An owl's night vision, it's up to 100 times better than ours. It allows them to spot the absolute tiniest movement in near total darkness. Plus, that binocular vision gives them perfect depth perception, which is crucial for zeroing in on a target from way up high. So once the target is spotted, the owl strikes with its most lethal weapon, its talons. These things can exert a crushing force of over 500 psi. That's pounds per square inch. Now, to put that in perspective for you, that is more than enough force to instantly crush the skull of its prey. It's just game over.
But honestly, perhaps their most amazing tool of all is their hearing. See, a lot of owls have what are called asymmetrical ears. That just means one ear is a little higher on its head than the other. And this tiny difference lets their brain create a perfect 3D audio map of everything around them. It can pinpoint a sound's exact location, up, down, left, right. Get this, they can even hear a mouse rustling around under a foot of snow. It's incredible.
And you know that iconic flat face, that facial disc? It is not just for looks. It actually works just like a satellite dish. It collects and funnels even the faintest sounds directly into those super-sensitive asymmetrical ears. It's basically a built-in acoustic radar system. How cool is that?
Okay, so they have all the superpowers. Now, let's see how they put that entire toolkit together for the ultimate night hunt.
The whole thing is just a sequence of flawless execution. Step 1. From a silent perch, they use that amazing 3D hearing to pinpoint their prey, basically mapping the world with sound. Then they launch. Step 2. They fly in complete silence, gliding towards their unsuspecting target like a ghost. And then, at the very last second, Step 3 and 4, the talons extend for a swift, powerful strike. And just like that, the hunt is over.
So what happens after the hunt? Well, that's where a really fascinating and, slightly gruesome digestive process kicks in. Owls will often swallow small prey whole. But here's the thing, they can't digest stuff like bones, fur, or feathers. So a few hours later, they just cough it all back up as a compact little pellet. And for scientists, these owl pellets are an absolute treasure trove of information. By dissecting them, they can figure out exactly what the owl has been eating.
So, what's on the menu? Well, it definitely varies by species, but rodents are a huge part of their diet for many owls. And this is what makes them so incredibly important to their ecosystems. They're basically a natural, super efficient form of pest control. You can see how every single part of their biology is fine-tuned for this really vital role.
But, this hyper-efficient hunter is so much more than just a killing machine. An owl's life is actually really complex. So let's zoom out a bit and talk about their family life and their fascinating place in our own cultures.
Right, so when we say owl, we're talking about a huge variety of different species. You've got the ghostly barn owl with that heart-shaped face and its famous screech, or the powerful great horned owl with its classic deep hoot. And then there are really quirky ones, like the tiny burrowing owl, which, yep, actually lives underground. Each one is just perfectly and uniquely adapted to its own environment.
It's probably because they're so nocturnal and mysterious, but owls are just deeply embedded in human culture all over the world. The ancient Greeks, for example, saw them as symbols of wisdom. They were the companions of the goddess Athena. In many Native American cultures, they're seen as powerful messengers, or sometimes even as omens. And even today, in our modern world, we still associate them with intelligence and, of course, a bit of mystery.
Okay, so what about family life? Well, owls are pretty resourceful. They don't actually build their own nests. Instead, they just find pre-made homes, like old tree hollows, barns, or even nests abandoned by other birds. Most species are monogamous. They mate for life. And the parents are fiercely protective of their young, which are called owlets. They will absolutely dive bomb any threat that gets too close to the nest.
But here's the thing. For a creature that has survived for millions and millions of years, these incredible animals are also uniquely vulnerable in our world. So let's take a look at the challenges they're up against right now.
And the biggest threats to owls today, they're almost all human-caused. Habitat loss is a huge one. It takes away their nesting sites. Rodent poison is another major problem. It doesn't just kill the rodents, it then poisons the owls when they eat that prey. And because they often hunt along roadsides, strikes from cars and trucks are a really big danger.
And this is exactly why their survival should matter so much to us. Just think about this. A single family of barn owls can eat over 1,000 rodents in just 1 year. They are our silent, vital partners in keeping ecosystems balanced. So in a very real way, protecting them is also about protecting ourselves.
And all of this leaves us with a final, pretty critical question. For over 60 million years, these ancient hunters have been the undisputed masters of the night. They're perfect predators, these silent sentinels. But the real question is, can they survive the world that we're creating?